Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of BSing Sports. I'm here, Ryan, Bill, as always, or should we say the B and the S? Yes, we have custom t-shirts. If you guys would like to order a t-shirt, go ahead and hit us up. We haven't officially started selling yet, but go ahead and give us an order now with your size. If you want a custom, be priced a little bit differently, you can message us for details on that. But yes, we do have paraphernalia finally. So,
Yeah. Like Ryan said, we don't have anything specific going on, but message us and we'll try and get them out as timely as we possibly can. But again, it's just a 2-man operation here, so cut us a little slack.
Yeah, we'll do the best that we can. So on this Christmas episode, we're obviously going to touch on the 2 Saturday night games and Thursday night game. We're going to cover this week in the NFL. We're also going to go over some comments the Eagles coach made when he was on COVID. Something came out a little weird about that. And then we're going to do something different. We're going to kind of predict which quarterbacks are going to be on which teams next year. I'm going to list out 5 teams to Bill, and he's going to give me his opinion on who's going to quarterback those teams. To start, though, everybody saw that Nick Sirianni was in COVID protocol this week. Wasn't sure if he was going to be able to coach. However, he did make an interesting comment in one of his pressers. He said that him and offensive coordinator Shane Steichen have been doing about a 50-50 play call the whole season, which is a little interesting because at times the play calling has looked a little questionable.
Indeed.
What do you make of this comment?
Really, I think the biggest question here is, in what games was Steichen calling the plays versus what games is Sirianni calling the plays? I noticed in the first 4 games of the season, and everybody knows the first 4 or 5 games of the season that the Eagles were really pass heavy for no apparent reason at all. And as you pointed out last night in our conversation, Steichen came from a very pass heavy offense in LA with Justin Herbert. Frank Reich came in from a very run heavy offense in Indianapolis. So it's just curious to me to find out who was calling the plays early in the season versus now.
Or even scenario to scenario. Think about the Giants game, throwing the ball, with goal to go 3 times in a row.
I'm wondering if because the Giants are such a bad team, Sirianni was trying to give Steichen a little bit of leash again. Like, okay, look, you've seen what we've been doing, how effective we've been running the ball. Try and here is the play calling again for you. Let's see what you do. And then in the first half, Jalen Hurts looked like he did. And then Sirianni probably took the play calling back.
Or what if it's the flip side? What if Sirianni's not one of those prideful coaches that is like, you know what, I'm the play caller here, I'll call the shots. What if he realized he was kind of screwing this up?
Doug Peterson.
Yeah, what if he realized he was kind of screwing this up and, relinquished some play calling and gave himself a little bit of his own leash back?
That's a good take on it. It's hard for me to believe, though, again, I know Frank Reich is calling the plays out in Indianapolis, but coming from them as the offensive coordinator with how run heavy they are, It's hard for me to believe that he would just come to Philadelphia and abandon the run.
That's a good point. But, so that was something interesting that came to mind with that. That being said, we didn't even mention it. As you can see, we're here together. We're in the same room.
If you couldn't tell.
Yeah, there's no split screen. I got here Saturday morning, Christmas morning. So, we figured we'd do a live show together.
Keep walking. There you go. So Merry Christmas.
Technical difficulties or
apologies. We're doing this sitting on my couch, and as you can imagine, I have animals. One of them is standing here in front of me.
Bill has very lovely dogs.
Moving on from that conversation, we want to talk a little bit about the quarterback scenario in the offseason. And how we think teams could shake out and who they could possibly go get. We got 5 teams we're going to discuss, which actually turns into about 7 if Ryan and I are thinking about this the same possible way. And we're not really talking about drafting a quarterback in the new class because there's not a strong quarterback class. We're talking about quarterbacks that are on rosters right now. Where will they be next season? Or rather, who will the particular team have at quarterback for their team? First team.
So to preface this, this stemmed from earlier in the week when San Francisco 49ers GM John Lynch accidentally liked a tweet that said they should leave Jimmy Garoppolo in Nashville after their 20-17 loss on Thursday night to the Titans. So I'll list off the first team, and I want you to tell me who you think is going to quarterback that team. Denver Broncos, 2022.
So you and I had a conversation about this in the car yesterday. It's likely that it will be Aaron Rodgers. However, I am not stone cold set on Aaron Rodgers to the Denver Broncos. Obviously, Teddy Bridgewater is not what's going to get them to the promised land. And it's just apparent at this point in time. Now, Rodgers was linked to the Broncos early in spring training this year, prior to him reporting to camp in Green Bay, obviously. So I know that's where he could potentially go. But the report that the Saints this past week were trying to coax Drew Brees out of retirement makes me believe that they realize that they're a team that could possibly win right here, right now. So my opinion is Rodgers probably goes to the Saints. But I do understand why the main consensus is that Rodgers will be a Bronco.
So I think that John Elway has done a fantastic job in Denver of building teams in his tenure there as GM. However, he's completely swung and missed every single time he's gone for a quarterback outside of Peyton Manning.
That's true.
He can't draft. Drew Lock was a bust. Teddy Bridgewater didn't exactly do what they wanted to do. They need to go out and get a bona fide quarterback. It is probably the only piece they are missing. So I think they will make the biggest push to get Aaron Rodgers. I think Devontae Adams also follows him, and they have a three-headed wide receiver monster over there in Denver with Judy and Sutton. So I think the Broncos will make the biggest push because they have the biggest need, especially in the AFC West, with the way that Herbert and Mahomes, ball out with like week in and week out. You're going to have to.
I hear you. In order to keep pace with Herbert and Mahomes, logically, it makes sense that the Broncos will make this biggest push possible for Aaron Rodgers. Now, having said that, if Aaron Rodgers is off the table because hypothetically the Saints go and get him, Russell Wilson is not out of the question, in my opinion, for Denver.
No, he's definitely not. I actually think that's who's going to go to the Saints. I think.
Okay.
I think since he'll be the quote unquote second best. This is like very reminiscent of like when Cliff Lee was on the market in 2011 for the Phillies and the Yankees were making that big push to sign him.
Yeah.
So, but moving on from Denver, Atlanta Falcons.
Quarterback to be named later. No. So my old man I can't get up and click the comments button because the laptop is about 5 feet in front of Ryan and I. However, my old man said Minshew. I don't see why the Eagles would let Minshew go. He's on a rookie deal and he got him for another year, and he's obviously a serviceable backup. So I think Minshew is definitely a Philadelphia Eagle again next year, unless they get some crazy offer for him. So let's start with that.
Yeah.
Now for the Atlanta Falcons, I really just don't have any idea what they're trying to do in Atlanta. They're not a good team, so it's not a desirable location. However, the likes of Teddy Bridgewater, as we've discussed, is probably going to come back available.
You said they're not a good team, but I think they're 6-8. I mean, that's not great, but that's a hell of a lot better than people thought they'd be.
That's fair. But so I could see the Falcons getting Teddy Bridgewater or even Jameis Winston if one of the aforementioned quarterbacks go to the Saints.
Jameis Winston's an interesting one. Yeah, I like that. He could stay in the NFC South his whole career.
He could, yeah. Just bounce from team to team.
Next one, Detroit Lions.
It'll be Jared Goff. Dan Campbell is really bought in on Jared Goff, and for what it's worth, Jared Goff has zero weapons up there. He's got T.J. Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift, and he hasn't had a terrible season. He's turned the ball over. He can't really push the ball down the field like they would hope he could. But if they get him some receivers in the draft, Jared Goff probably will be more sufficient than he was this year. But again, without a strong draft class and with not many options on the free agency market in terms of quarterback, the Lions, again, are just not a desirable location. So
I 1,000% agree with that. I think Jared Goff is the quarterback for the Lions going into 2022. Due all in part to the fact that that draft class just doesn't have it. They have quite a few first-round picks over the next 3 years, though. 2023, there will be more desirable quarterback prospects as of right now. So 2022 will pretty much be Jared Goff's, last dance. Like, hey, show us that, you can lead a team, like Detroit to
anything,
yeah. Even if they finish with 2 wins this year and then they go out and win even 6 to 7 games next year, especially if Rodgers leaves Green Bay, that's a huge plus.
Yeah. So we're on the same page. Jared Goff.
Washington football team.
Again, another interesting situation here. Seeing as Tyler Heineke has played as well as he has, I'm going to say Tyler Heineke. At this point, he's earned his spot as a starter. The defense is dealing with a lot of injuries, so the team is kind of sort of falling on their face here. But for a while there, he was on, I think, a 3-game winning streak, or they were they won 3 out of 5 or something like that. So at this point right here, unless something drastically changes, I don't see why Heineke isn't the starter next year.
Yeah, I think this draft class, and I've said this on the pod before, really falling on its face. Sam Howell, Kadon Slovis, Spencer Rattler, who just transferred, Bo Nix, who just transferred. That this draft class was supposed to have some pretty decent quarterback talent, and it just came out and fell flat on its face. So I think that really changed the landscape of the quarterback market in the NFL. Guys like Derek Carr, who probably, if they don't make the playoffs, this would have been their last dance despite having 1 year left on their deal. Like these guys basically get a free second shot or third shot.
Because of how poor the draft class is.
Yeah, because there's nothing to replace them. And I don't think there's anything worth the first round cap hit for GMs to take a gamble on. Maybe Kenny Pickett, but that's only one quarterback, and there's going to be several teams that need him. The Giants even actually just came out and announced that Joe Judge and Daniel Jones will both come back in 2022, and Daniel Jones will be the starting quarterback. So that's another team that I think Daniel Jones got a free revival, essentially, because there's nobody in the draft better than Daniel Jones.
Correct, yeah.
Which is sad because Daniel Jones isn't good. I mean, it's great for me as an Eagles fan, but it's really sad as a Giants fan that there's nobody better than Daniel Jones in this draft. That being said, the last team that I mentioned is the Panthers. And we had an interesting take on this one.
We did. So obviously they go out, they trade for Sam Darnold in the offseason, and the first 3 games it looked like they hit jackpot. And since Christian McCaffrey has been injured, he has been absolutely dog water. Sam Darnold, I mean. So honestly, and you and I agreed on this, and we both said the same name like within a few seconds. Jimmy Garoppolo is likely out of San Francisco, regardless of whether he makes the playoffs this year. They drafted Trey Lance. Trey Lance will be the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers in 2022. So I would not even think for a second that it's out of the question that Jimmy Garoppolo goes to Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, that's probably the most realistic location. And like you said, Jimmy Garoppolo is not staying in San Francisco one way or another, especially if he makes the playoffs, because he's going to, command a decent trade. I don't see any scenario where the 49ers keep Trey Lance on the bench for a second year. I think he's just a more explosive player with a stronger arm, better legs, can run the Kyle Shanahan offense.
Exactly. That's the biggest part of it.
Like he has the potential to. His floor isn't quite there, and everybody knew that he was going to need the year to sit. When he was drafted 3rd overall, nobody was like, this guy's going to start right away. Nobody thought that like he was going to be Trevor Lawrence or anything
Correct.
like that. But
Correct.
Everybody figured that he would need the year. And I think he's learned a lot in this year. Even some of his playing time, from training camp and the preseason until, his stints in the regular season when Garoppolo was hurt, you could tell that he had made improvements in this game. He still had some work to do, but you could tell that there was some improvements to be made. You can tell that he's a quick study. So, and in college, he generally took care of the football. So that's another thing. Being explosive, being able to take care of the football, 2 very positive things that you need in the Kyle Shanahan offense.
Yeah, agreed. So we got a question from Tim. It says, what do you think the Panthers do with Christian McCaffrey? I'll let you go first. I have an opinion on this, and I've thought long and hard on it, but I'll let you go first.
They keep him
there. Look, he's injury prone, and we understand that he was overused. Ryan and I had this discussion in depth last night while we were hanging out watching Christmas movies and football.
They draft him some help. They acquire him some help. The issue is you can't give a guy 400 touches for 3 straight years and then expect that to be some kind of sustainable pace. Everybody thought Derrick Henry could do it because he was a monster. Nope. Nobody's susceptible to it, or everybody's susceptible to it.
Correct.
You will start to get banged up. Dalvin Cook misses games every single year because he just takes on a big workload. Bell cow backs aren't a true thing anymore because of this. They're going to go with some sort of Cleveland style Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, guys who still get hurt because they're running backs and they touch the ball a lot, and literally your job is to gain 4 yards and get cracked by everybody, but it's going to happen. But they're going to draft somebody that can take probably 100 to 125 touches off of his season,
which keeps him healthier, makes him more
Hubbard's not it.
No, Chuba Hubbard is a nice spell back while CMC is hurt, but because their game is similar, CMC is obviously significantly better than Chuba Hubbard.
They'll take the goal line, the short yardage carries from him for sure.
Correct.
We'll start there, and then they'll find other ways to spell him. But I think that I think CMC has to stay. One, nobody's going to trade for that contract. 4 years, $64 million for a running back. That's a lot of money. Secondly, Why would you? You know, he's your best player. He's your franchise player. If you trade in a business world, if you trade away a guy like that, it says a lot to your fan base. You know, like, hey, we don't really care. We're trading away our best player.
In addition to that, we've already discussed how we think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go to Carolina, and as such, look what Jimmy Garoppolo is doing with a running back team that is not as good as Christian McCaffrey. He's a playoff quarterback right now on that team with a good running game in front of him. So why would you, if you're going to go get Jimmy Garoppolo in that scenario, why would you trade away the best piece to help Jimmy Garoppolo? So CMC is a Panther.
So I could also see the Panthers drafting Malik Willis, the quarterback from Liberty, because he's been classified as a Lamar Jackson type where he can run and throw, and that would help out CMC immensely because if you give him a mobile quarterback, that could do wonders for him.
That's true. We got a question from Tim Hawkins. He asked, what about the Steelers? What do the Steelers do in the offseason to address their obvious quarterback needs since Ben Roethlisberger is obviously out?
To me, the Steelers have to do whatever it takes to go draft Kenny Pickett. I think that with the weapons that they have all being young, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Chase Claypool are all under 24 years old. Najee Harris is a rookie, 23. There's no veterans that are going to love it because there's no established offensive line there. So I think that they're going to have to go out and draft Kenny Pickett. They're going to have to go get a franchise quarterback because everybody else around them is very young. You know,
that's true.
Because if you end up paying a quarterback on the free agent market, a decent quarterback that just gets you by, that doesn't really do anything for your team.
It could get you to 2023 where there's a better quarterback class.
That's true, but I could also the big name tied to them for me is Russell Wilson. I could see Russell Wilson going to
Okay.
For
let's
years.
Let's not forget that Deshaun Watson is still technically an availability for some teams.
Yeah, but I think the longer that drags out, you know, it's
the less
likely that it is that he goes anywhere. However, Miami's probably off the table now. Tua's played pretty well over the second.
Tua has played pretty well, yes.
Pittsburgh's probably the most desirable location because you go there and immediately have 3 good wide receivers and a running back that can eat up the defense. However, the downside is their offensive line is terrible.
Correct. All right.
So I'm going to go ahead and say Russell Wilson or Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
I think they have to make the splash for either a young franchise quarterback or somebody that can win them a game tonight.
Okay. Let's get into recap of the 3 previous games this week, and then we're going to do a quick recap. We want to be off of this in time to get ready for the 1 o'clock games. So Thursday night, the Niners lose to the Titans. They visit the Titans. It was a good game, 20-17 win for the Titans.
And Jimmy Garoppolo did make it back to San Francisco.
Having said that, the Niners went into halftime up 10-0, and then the Titans put up 17 unanswered, and then in the fourth quarter, Garoppolo leads a touchdown drive, and then the Titans go down the field and kick a field goal. But
A.J. Brown ate that defense alive.
A.J. Brown did eat that defense alive. A.J. Brown had 1 catch at the half, and then completely came out in the second half and was like, okay, it's my put the team on my back. Derrick Henry's out. I'm going to be the star now, and let's go.
I got to say, for how badly Debo and A.J. Brown went off, neither quarterback was fantastic, and this game was relatively low scoring. Usually when you see receivers just going blow for blow like that with each other, it's generally a little bit higher scoring than 20-17.
Yes. Apologies. In case you guys are wondering what we're looking at, we got a new webcam for my setup, and we're actually on the TV in front of us, so we're looking at us.
Yeah. So
doing the podcast.
You got the laptop there. We're looking at the TV. It's actually a pretty cool setup.
It is a nice setup. If I didn't have to get up and spin everything around, I'd show you this. Anyway,
myself in the back.
Christmas Day games. The Cleveland Browns somehow made this a game with the Green Bay Packers, who were up 21-6.
I don't even think the score indicates how bad this game was. Cleveland was a field goal from winning this game, but it never felt like it at any point. Correct.
Yeah, Cleveland was dominated the entire game. And for whatever reason, after the half, the Packers just took their foot off the gas. You're talking Aaron Rodgers at 194 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. And then I think he finished with 208 total yardage and the 3 touchdowns. So for whatever reason, they just completely took the game out of Aaron Rodgers' hand. And fortunately, it didn't bite them in the rear because as Eagles fans, we want the Packers to keep winning.
Yeah, that bodes well. We'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about playoff scenarios as they tend to unfold a little bit more. There's still a couple wild games that have to be settled, particularly Dallas and Arizona. That is a big one next week. That'll probably be our highlight game. However, yeah, the Packers just from the get go, after the Cleveland first drive where they scored on like 4 plays because of the Nick Chubb long reception on the screen, the Packers just took the game over. Baker was picked off 4 times. He was sacked 4 times, 5 times.
That last interception was definitely Russell Douglas getting away with it.
Absolutely,
he got away with pass interference there.
That was egregious. That was the ref saying, "All right, we want to go home this Christmas." Yeah, that was terrible.
Gabby, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gab. Love you. However, the Packers just dominated this game. I don't care what the scoreboard says. Matt LaFleur almost cost his team a victory by not letting Goat Rodgers do what he does best.
Yeah, I understand, Tim, that Rodgers is dealing with the toe, but he's still Aaron Rodgers, and every other week with that toe, he's been throwing through the entire game when it's been close. So this is all Matt LaFleur. This isn't on Aaron Rodgers and his toe. The next game, the night game last night, the Indianapolis Colts visited the Arizona Cardinals. I forgot the Colts weren't home in that game.
I don't think it matters at this point.
Colts went to Indianapolis. I'd like to point out the Colts went to Arizona. The Colts were 1-4 to start the season, and everybody and their mother was saying that they made a huge mistake going to get Carson Wentz. He wasn't going to be able to get it done for them. I got news for you: they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Colts are the real deal. They're 9-6. The Titans are 10-5. They're kicking on the door to that division. They're in the wild card. So the Colts are a team to watch. They go to Arizona last night and they beat Arizona 22-16. And while the game was close for most of the game, the Colts dominated it, and it wasn't Jonathan Taylor this time. It was not Jonathan Taylor.
And for the first time, in a while, the announcers actually got something right pregame. They said, Jonathan Taylor's just on this massive hot streak. He's carrying this team. Wentz is eventually going to have to prove that he can win games by throwing the football, something Ryan Tannehill didn't do for the Titans in the playoffs 2 years ago.
Correct.
So that way, when they got behind against KC, they could never come back.
Correct. And last night, Carson Wentz won that game.
Now I'm not saying Carson Wentz can go toe for toe with the Kansas City offense, but last night Carson Wentz went on the road against a team that was 10-4, and he looked flawless. Actually, he didn't make any really bad throws. He took care of the football like he has for most of his career. He looked great. He 18 of 28 for 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, something like that.
Yeah.
So
Tim Hawkins there. Yes. Jonathan Taylor is the primary resident in that offense. However, Carson Wentz is going to need to do stuff to win games. We're not saying that Jonathan Taylor isn't the offense there. We're just simply saying that, and the announcers, as Ryan said, got it right. Carson Wentz is going to have to start throwing the football.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, especially against playoff teams, to go on the road against a team that would host a playoff game if the playoffs started next week and beat them like that in that fashion without your best player being very relevant. That's huge.
Yeah,
especially with how injury prone their offensive linemen have been all of a sudden. They had lost 2 going into the game and lost 2 more in the game. The Colts.
Yes, yeah. They were down 5 offensive linemen last night at one point in the game.
Yeah, so and Carson Wentz just kept dropping back, taking care of football, doing his thing, finding the right guys, making all the right throws. So that beautiful performance. As far as the Cardinals go, I'm concerned. I'm very, very, very concerned about the Cardinals.
The Rams take that top spot in that division today.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. The Cardinals, I think, are a one and done team in the playoffs. They are a very lost team.
They're
without
struggling
DeAndre
right
Hopkins.
now. They really are.
Without DeAndre Hopkins, no James Conner in the backfield yesterday. Kyler Murray cannot do it. I've always kind of had my worries about Kyler Murray because he's small, and I didn't think that he would be able to hold up through an NFL season. Taking the hits that running quarterbacks take.
And he missed 3 games because
and he's missed time already. But he now I have a different concern of. When there's no D-Hop, when there's no James Conner, can he win football games? Kind of in a similar fashion of can Carson Wentz win football games? When Jonathan Taylor isn't the focal point. So yeah, I'm concerned. I'm very concerned about the Cardinals, and I'm very concerned about Kyler Murray.
Agreed. 1 o'clock game, the one that we'll be watching here at my house. The Philadelphia Eagles host the New York Giants 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago. The Giants at the Meadowlands played a good defensive game against a really, really, really struggling Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. However, I don't think it's the same thing this time. I got the Eagles here, and I got the Eagles probably by 2 touchdowns.
I'm not making predictions on this game. I predicted
All right,
Eagles.
let's move on.
I predicted the Eagles would smack the hell out of the Giants last time, and they came out with a game plan that was intentionally designed for them to lose that game. So I'm not going to make a prediction.
Fair enough. Rams,
yes. Next.
Rams at Vikings. I also have Rams. Bills visiting the New England Patriots. If the Bills don't win this game, there's no shot at them taking that division. So I think the Bills come out with a good game plan against Bill Belichick in Bill Belichick's house, and I think the Bills get the win here.
Going back to the Rams, I think the Rams smacked the Vikings by 10 to 14 points. I think without Dalvin Cook.
That's the big thing here. Dalvin Cook's not playing.
Adam Thielen still being a huge question mark. I think even without him playing, I don't think it really matters. Rams 10 to 14 points. They're a juggernaut. To the Bills, Patriots, I agree. Well, obviously I agree because mathematically speaking, there's no way the Bills can win this division if they don't win this game. So that being said, I think they come out with a game plan. They let Josh Allen drop back, throw the ball, and they still lose.
Okay, then.
I just think, Bill Belichick schemes. They won in Buffalo first time. This one's in Foxborough. And Bill Belichick for years has been very good at shutting down the opposing offense's best weapon. So Stephon Diggs, I think, is going to be on notice today. We'll see. That really all depends on how open can Stephon Diggs get. So, but go ahead and give me the Pats by 7.
Okay. Tim Hawkins. We actually had this discussion, I think, a week ago or 2 weeks ago. If the Bills get a running back for Josh Allen,
Isaiah Spiller,
that team is going to be significantly better. Devin Singletary is just not the answer. I know that Sean McDermott came out and said that Singletary is the primary lead back from now on, and it's going to be him, not really splitting carries. But he's just not the answer.
Isaiah Spiller from Texas A&M is the answer.
There you go. Next game, 10-4 Buccaneers at the 5-9 Panthers. We don't even got to talk about it.
Bucks by a lot.
The Jags and Jets, same thing. Don't really need to talk about it, but I'm going to go Jets here.
Actually, Jags-Jets could be an interesting one. I'm going to go ahead and go Jaguars just because I think now that they're free of Urban Meyer, maybe the team will play a little bit more freely. However, Darrell Bevell is, very suspect offensive coordinator. But go ahead and give me the Jags anyway, even on the road.
I'm going Jets, and I got the Jets by 3.
I think
it's going to be a close game.
I think it'll be a pretty good game. It's the toilet bowl, but it'll be a very good game.
It's not well. I mean, the Lions are still 2-11, so not necessarily.
The Lions are on a 2-game winning streak, or 2 out of 3. Or
they are actually, yes. So, which is funny because now they're visiting the Falcons in Atlanta. And don't laugh at me when I say this, but I'm going Lions. I'm going to take the Lions to upset Atlanta in Atlanta.
Don't disrespect Matt Ryan like that.
I'm disrespecting Matt Ryan like that.
Go ahead and give me the Falcons in that game, though.
Okay. I know we're running through these really quick. Like I said, we got to get football squared away.
Yeah, y'all want to watch football because you're going to shut us off at 12:45 anyway, so we want to be off at 12:45.
Correct. We're trying to whip through this really fast. That sounds good.
Thanks, man.
8-6 Chargers visiting the 3-11 Texans. Justin Herbert's going to throw all over that defense.
So the Chargers statistically throw the ball more than any other team in the NFL, and Austin Eckler is not available for the Chargers today. So they will probably throw the ball 50 times despite being up 50 points.
I don't disagree. That's actually something I wholeheartedly agree with.
Yeah, they could be up by 3 touchdowns, and they're going to throw the ball 3 straight plays.
A good game, division rival for the lead in this particular division. The 8-6 Ravens visit the 8-6 Bengals.
Interesting story for the quarterback situation on this
Lamar
one.
Jackson already has been rolled out. Tyler Huntley was ruled out yesterday with COVID. So now they've got who's the kid they're starting today?
Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson is starting quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens today. So I'm going Bengals, and I'm going Bengals probably winning by 10. Yes, the Ravens defense is good, but I think the Bengals going to win this game by 10.
Bengals by 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. All right, good. 4-10 Bears visiting the 5-9 seed. You good?
Damn.
You good?
Yeah. Okay. I think I got something stuck in my throat.
It happens. 4-10 Bears at the 5-9 Seahawks. Nick Foles, BDN for Philly fans, gets the start for the Chicago Bears today. And as such, I'm still going the Seahawks in Seattle. the Bears are really reeling. I think it might be Matt Nagy's last year there.
Gotta be.
Yeah. So I know that Russell Wilson hasn't been that great this season, and the Seahawks are also reeling. The Bears are just lost right now. So give me the Seahawks. You good, bro?
Yeah.
Hey,
It's like some dry spot in my throat.
When you get up and run, don't trip over the cord.
Oh, no, it's not like that. I just got a dry spot.
Gotcha. But yeah, so I got the Seahawks probably by 10. Seahawks by 10.
Yeah, I'm going to actually agree with that wholeheartedly. Seahawks are just going to take the game, control it the whole way.
425 game, 7-6-1 Steelers at the 10-4 Chiefs.
God damn.
Technical difficulties. I got you another Gatorade there. I'm going Chiefs here. The Steelers are such an anomaly right now. They're playing really good against good teams and really, really bad against bad teams. So I'm going Chiefs here, and I'm going Chiefs by 2 touchdowns.
Chiefs with no Travis Kelce win by 7.
So I'm gonna fire off these last 2 games here by myself, and then we'll just get on out of here. No, you're good. Well, you sound like you're having some issues. I got the 7-7 Broncos at the 7-7 Raiders. This is another interesting game because both those teams are trying to get in the wild card in the AFC. The Broncos defense is really good. However, with Darren Waller healthy and Josh Jacobs healthy, I think Derek Carr does just enough to win this game. So give me the Raiders by 3. Ryan's nodding, but I don't know if that means he agrees.
We're back. You said Raiders by 3?
Yes, Raiders by 3.
Is Waller actually playing?
Waller is playing.
I'm going to need to edit one of my lineups there. I'm going to go ahead and say Raiders by 3 as well. I think Waller's probably the missing piece in that offense. What's his name? Franklin Moreau, the backup?
Yeah.
Moreau, something. Yeah, I just don't think he was cutting it.
There's just a huge gap in talent.
Yeah, the lack of weapons for, Vegas while Darren Waller was on the shelf for a little bit there. Just too insurmountable for that team to overcome. However, Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller being in that offense and the Broncos being quarterbacked by Drew Lock.
We're almost done. Chill out.
I think that says everything you need to know. So go ahead and give me the Raiders by a score.
Quiet. We're almost done. Last game of say hello to Thor, everyone. Last game on the docket, Monday Night Football. You got Washington football team visiting the Dallas Cowboys. This is an intriguing game because Washington has been playing pretty decent football. And Heineke is back this week, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you got Tyler Heineke playing in Dallas against the Cowboys. I believe the Cowboys still win, but I think it's going to be a closer game than what paper dictates. So give me the Cowboys by 7 at home against the Washington football team.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going to. Also, I am not saying this just because I want them to lose, but there is upset potential here.
Yes.
Divisional games tend to get a little crazy. That's why I wouldn't pick on the Eagles-Giants game. But yeah, there's upset potential here. However, I don't think it happens. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cowboys about 28-21.
Yeah, again, by
their offense is struggling a little bit too. They look very out of sync. Dak Prescott doesn't look the same right now.
Correct, I agree. All right, everybody. That's sorry for the quick show, but again, we gotta get ready for some football here. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Again, if you want a shirt, please reach out to us. We have our emails and everything. We are obviously very active on Facebook and Twitter these days. We have the website. Please go visit the website at www.bsingsports.com and leave some comments and feedback. And we appreciate. Damn, Thor, calm down. We appreciate every one of you. I hope you had a Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year.
Thank you for the feedback, guys. We appreciate all that. And have a Happy New Year. We'll see you guys next week.